Yeah, good morning. A few additional thoughts on the Monroe County employee housing. Um, some questions that we need to ask ourselves. If you were employed with young children in employee housing, could you ever refuse to work overtime? Could you refuse to work on in substandard safety conditions, abusive conditions? Could you take a day off? What if you had children? What if your wife became pregnant with triplets or twins? Would would employee housing accept families of six? Families of two? What happens if with a growing family in employee housing? Um, what would you do if you worked 50 hours one week and or 60 hours, and then they shifted 20 of those hours to the next week and only allowed you 20 hours of work the next week. So essentially, what they'll do is you work 80, but you work 60 and 20, and they shift 20 over so they don't have to pay you overtime. That's what Bank of America did for years. They probably still do. They did it to my wife. I know that for a fact. And I don't even have to look up that law to figure out if it's illegal. But what would you do if your boss took advantage of you in any ways that are unreasonable, unsafe, or unjust? Um, and the selection process. How do they select these people? Do they discriminate against large families in their employee housing? But they like little families probably because they have a lot of leverage on them. Do they discriminate against single men and women in these housing employee housing issues? Because single men and women they don't have the leverage over them. Because if a guy doesn't like the job or a girl, so what if they're alone? They're not responsible for other people. It wouldn't be as difficult for them to adjust their housing or leave the keys, which is probably what all of them will do anyway, because none of them could afford to live here if it wasn't for the employee housing. So they're captured. They're a captured workforce. They're indentured servants. And this guy up in Marathon, this Singh guy, he's a Sikh, and I like Sikhs. But one of the things that the reason why the Sikhs broke away from the Hindus was that in India is they didn't like the caste system. Well, I got news for you, Mr. Hindu Sikh uh, Singh. No offense, but what you're doing is the caste system. You're bringing it over with you, and you don't even know it because you're so focused on making your money. You don't give a shit about the community. I'd like to tell you you did. Prove to me I'm wrong. But at any rate, that's the scoop. It's a little lousy. Plus, it destroys the middle class and the middle keys because it it takes our jobs away. It takes the jobs of the youth, of the workforce. It takes the lower and middle class ability to have a decent paying job away. Just like the Mexican border. I hate to say it, guys, but you're as dumb as a rock if you think that these things are good for your families. It's sad. But at any rate, the so I'm vehemently opposed to employee housing, even though it probably over the long haul uh, increases housing values, home values by some incremental amount, and I do mean incremental. So that's my take on employee housing in Monroe County. Think what you want. Anyway, thanks for letting me. Bye.